Okay, can you still hear Caleb? Mic's working?
That's good from Bailey.
Somebody tell me
Yes.
that.
Sorry, it took me a sec.
Okay, cool.
All right, welcome to seminary, everyone. Bailey has done what must be done, as there's no Bailey. Taylor will have the music shared today. Then we'll give the opening prayer, followed by Doctrine Mastery by Jacob, wherever he's at. Right there, yeah. How do I look over you? Oh my goodness. And then we'll have personal share by Taylor. Then we'll have the lesson. And then we'll have the closing prayer by Adam. Are there any announcements, any fun things happening, any of that stuff? General conference, yeah, that's this Sunday, right?
It's Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday, yeah. We now have a joke section where Bailey can display her best of skills.
Oh. You gotta say it to us.
We have like
Yeah, I know.
Oh, they all have the jokes on them still? That's what
That's
Laffy
my
Taffy
joke.
do?
That's not a Laffy Taffy joke, though.
Yeah,
That's
Bailey
not
has her own jokes.
Did you make that up?
No.
Oh, so
Last
my
year in
joke?
seminary, she just looked up like so many
I started
jokes.
off, I started like saying a joke like every day just for the week as I was conducting, and then I was like, oh, that's so funny, you'll have to do it next week too, and that pretty soon turned into me doing it the entire year.
Love
This
it.
one's about how cows have hooves instead of feet. And it's all because they lactose.
Yeah, deliver.
That's good.
Alright, since there appears to be no new announcements, pass the time over to Taylor. Take it away, Taylor.
This one's like
You gonna play it?
yeah, sure.
You wanna play it up there? It's from your phone or what?
Up there would be great. So this is just one of the ones that's from Strive to Be. It's in some of the EFI music sometimes. Just like when the first time I heard the song, gave me goosebumps because I don't know why, but sometimes when I hear songs and just the music really clicks with me, then I get like goosebumps all over. That's just something that kind of happens for me. So I've always really liked this one, and every time I listen to it, I can feel the spirit, so I thought I'd share it.
There's
His grand design. So don't be weary. He will be with you, and He will lead you through the night. This great voice, this great voice, this is a great voice, this great word. This great voice, this great voice, this is a great voice, this is a great word. This is a great, this is a great, this is a great word. This is a great, this is a great, this is a great word.
So what is strive to be? I've never heard of that.
They're one of the groups that helps put the music together for EFY, and they do a bunch of almost like youth pop music, but it's like, I don't know. I really like almost
Yeah,
everything.
I haven't heard what they are. So every year there's like a new album or something, or new music for every EFY every year, like youth music.
Mhm.
Alright. Cool. Thanks. Ben. Thanks for up.
Okay. Heavenly Father, I feel that we could come here today and praise us that we can all learn something new and feel the Spirit, and that we can have a good rest of our day, and praise us that we can all feel the Spirit the rest of the day at school, and that we won't let all the bad stuff happen and get to us and say things that we stress with.
Amen. Oh, I love that prayer. Thank you. All right. Jacob.
My doctoral mastery, I picked D&C 8210, which says, I, the Lord, am bound when ye do what I say, but when ye do not what I say, ye have no promise. I just like the message it gives in here, because it's like, if you hold up your deal of the promise, you will get blessings, and if we don't have temptations, if we strive away from our temptations and follow the commandments, we'll get blessings. I just like that message, and I said the Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thanks. Great reminder.
So, in the last couple of days, I've kind of been thinking more and more about confidence and the different levels of that in my interactions in life. And there's a lot of different aspects I've been thinking about, but over time I've kind of consolidated to like one thought in my head, and it's that confidence is the belief in the power that comes from how I live. So depending on how I live and depending on the actions that I take in life, that gives me different varieties of power to do things, or the ability to act. And when I live righteously, then I'm getting power from righteousness. And then confidence is the belief in the power that I'm given. So it's just kind of the thought that's been running through my head, and I just thought that it might be cool to share that.
That's really good. So, confidence isn't given to you as an external thing, but let's see. It's like you don't need people to approve of you, because you approve of you because of how you live, in a way. Like that kind of confidence is that self-assuredness that I don't need whatever. I don't need people to like me. I don't need to be popular. I don't need all this other kind of external stuff, I'm confident because I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. Confidence in the belief in the power of what you're doing and how you're living. You said it really well. It's like, I heard this quote from somebody the other day, and I thought it was pretty good. It's like, I used to walk into a room and wonder if anybody would like me. And now I walk into a room and I wonder if I'll like anybody. So it's like, where's the power, you know? It's like, I like myself. I'm proud of who I am. I have confidence in how I'm living. Therefore, I'm free to like move about in the world and own it, right? Not be like timid or like scared or worried about what people think and stuff, because you know what you think of you, because that's real power. That's real power. The Lord can really use a person who knows what they're doing is approved of themselves. Any other thoughts about confidence? What gives a person confidence? It's a good topic. Have you gone from being less confident to more confident? And how has that happened for you? For Taylor, it says it's how he chooses to live, and that gives him confidence. Anything else? Somebody asked a question in that basket once, and we'll get to it maybe. I'll pull it out at some point. How do I get a girlfriend or boyfriend if you're whatever? How do I get a girlfriend? There's a guy asking the question. It's a valid question. Well, maybe that's part of one of the answers, is that kind of confidence. Knowing who you are, being proud of who you are, knowing that your choices are like, they're good, so you're solid. That's attractive. It's attractive to, it's not prideful, it's like assurance. That's one thing. Like, know who you are, know what you're doing, be proud of it. Everybody here has something, a lot to be proud of. Because you're on a path that works. You're on the right path. You're working towards something. That's great. Other ideas? Input there? Did Spencer eat a sandwich yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So we got that done. All right, I'm going to pull a couple of these out. This is like structured improv. I don't know what we're going to come up with. What do you think when you were, what did you think when you were called to this calling? Okay. Maybe I've told this before, but when I was younger, like return missionary, going to BYU, there were guys who were majoring in basically becoming seminary teachers. They wanted it for a career. A lot of seminary teachers are paid. It's their full-time job. And so they'll do what I'm doing like 4 times a day and be in charge of a whole seminary program. Has anybody been had a professional seminary teacher before? All right. Oh, in Idaho, right? When you moved there. Yeah. So people are like, oh, you should be a seminary teacher. I'm like, no way. I don't want to do that. Because I thought like my seminary teacher growing up was kind of, I don't know, seemed like a little gimmicky, like a little bit of like try to have to make the gospel really fun and all kinds of games, and it's like Mickey Mouse church kind of, and I didn't really think that about the gospel that way, and I didn't really want to have to do that. So I was like, no, I don't want to have to, I don't want to teach that way. I don't like that very much. So no, I'm not going to do seminary teaching. So I got this calling, and the first thought was, wow, that's going to take a lot of time. Do I have time to do that? That's like 15 or 20 hours a week. That's a part-time job. Like, that's worth a lot of money. Can I afford that? Can I do that? And I said, yes, I can do that because I already promised everything. So, okay, that's off the table. Sure, I can do that. Then I thought, and I felt really excited because one of my biggest desires is to do something good. To do something good in the world, to make a difference. And actually, if in this church, if you want to make a difference, maybe being a seminary teacher is one of the best ways to do that. If I can actually manage to pull off seminary okay, semi all right, then it's a chance to influence you guys that might help you for the rest of your lives. If there's something I can say or do, it's really my greatest desire. Maybe there's something that will happen in this classroom at some point that will actually help you in some way. So I was excited about the calling, even though I was daunted by the commitment. Is it better to do something unwillingly or not do it?
Depends on what it is.
Okay. Can we get a couple examples? Let's go on one side of the aisle and go on the other side of the aisle. It's better do something, or maybe we're talking about gospel things, doing something good. Let's say that. Is it better to do something that is a good thing to do unwillingly or to not do it? Okay.
If you're a missionary and you're teaching people but you hate it, you're doing it unwillingly, then it's better not to do it. Because then those people see that you're not excited about it, and then you're not likely to join the church.
Okay. By that same rationale, have you ever heard your parents or adults complain about their calling? Like, oh, gosh. You don't have to raise your hand. You don't have to out your parents.
No, I'm not outing
Okay. Iola.
The way that I see it is it doesn't really matter if you do it then, if you're just not going to put in effort or you don't want to do it.
Because you won't maybe reap the benefit. Okay.
What about fake it till you make it?
See, there's that too.
There's both rationales. Like,
right.
I can understand it. Like, if you do stuff unwillingly, it's like the wrong intentions, and it's not great. But maybe if you're doing it unwillingly, and you just have a bad attitude, but you hope to get better, you're still gonna do it even though you're unwilling. Because, I guess in a way you'd be willing then, but I don't know. I feel like to a certain point, like if you keep on doing it, you'll get to a point where you do want to do it.
Okay.
In a way, because you'll see the benefits in a way. So you have to put yourself through that for the greater good.
There's something to be said for putting your body in the place and doing the things that must be done, that you believe are right or good. Let's say go to church, for example, or maybe go to young men's or young women's. Like actually putting your body there, is worth something, because then you're in a place where you may benefit, maybe minimally, but something might bless you for that effort. Whereas if you don't go, there certainly won't be any possibility of being blessed by being in that meeting, right? So there is some value to forcing yourself, but we have competing desires too, right? Unwilling or willing. It's like, I want to do what's good in the world and in life, but I don't want to do that because of like a variety of reasons. It's too much work. It's uncomfortable socially. Like I have no friends there or whatever. Like we have lots of reasons, but I want to do good, but I don't want to do that. So do what's good and then see what happens. That's an act of faith, I think. It's kind of what you're saying. Have the faith to try and then see what happens. Who said that? If you want to know if this doctrine, if it comes from me or from like God, what should you do? Huh?
Ask in faith.
Okay, ask. A.S.K. includes asking, seeking, knocking. You're going to get into that. But do it. Jesus said, try it. Just try it. Just come and see. Just check it out. You don't have to know a lot. You don't even have to really want to. Just come and check it out for a minute. And then you'll know. Just try it. So that's good advice. There's a hand here, and then did somebody over here have a hand? Taylor?
Just pretending like she was like saying that she was excited.
Yeah, that was a good example.
And then eventually she got to the point where she was excited. Same thing can kind of work. Like, even if it's something you really don't want to do, if you continue to do it, you continue to force yourself to do it. At some point, you get to the point where you may have a moment where you reconsider, like, hey, maybe this isn't something that I hate. Maybe I actually kind of like doing this. Or you get to a point and you're like, I'm hating this. This is awful. What do I need to change? And you can change something, and it can turn whatever it is into something a lot better. It can, forcing yourself to do something. At some point, you come to an ultimatum where you have the choice to become happy about it, change your actions or what you're doing, not do it entirely.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't do it in the first place, you won't get to the point where you've learned from that experience and can change from it.
Mm-hmm. It's like this, kind of. If you don't at least pick up that stick, you won't ever find out what comes after it, right? You won't see the branches. So if I choose to not, let's say, go to church because I don't really want to, then I definitely won't see whatever might come from going to church. By choosing not to go to church, I'm foregoing any blessings that might show up for me there entirely. That's for sure. Definitely won't see any good results. But also, Jesus was very, very serious about not having hypocrites, which are people who do outwardly the right things, but inwardly they're doing it for all the wrong reasons. So I'm going to go to whatever. I'm going to do my alms to the poor so that I may be, what was the problem he had? I'll do my alms to the poor. You know what that means? Any good works, basically. For what reason? Why did they do it in the New Testament? He had a real problem with this.
To show them outside, be like, hey, I did my alms.
Yeah, so that what would happen? They do it in the public space, so they'll get attention. So people will say, oh, there's a righteous person. Oh, there's a good person. So they're doing it for pride, to feed themselves, instead of for the right reason, to take care of the poor, to serve God through that action. So I think it maybe depends on our intention. Are we doing the right thing for actually the wrong reason? That will turn to our cursing, our detriment. Because then we're using God's path or God's way for our own benefit, for our own prideful gain. He didn't like that at all. Still doesn't. But if you're doing the right thing for the right reason, but you don't want to, that's good. That's good. To decide maybe, serve a mission. I don't really want to, but I want to do what's right. I don't really want to do that, but I'm going to go because I want to do what's right, and it's going to be really hard, and I probably won't enjoy it, and whatever, but I'm going to try. Like, that's good. To do the right thing, even if you don't want to, yeah, it's better to do that. It's kind of complicated. Jesus said something else about it too. He said, either be hot or be cold. I'm good. Either way. But don't be lukewarm. Because if you're lukewarm, what am I going to do with you? You know the scripture? You know what?
Dump you down the sink.
Yeah, he said, I'll spew you forth out of my mouth. So it's like, yeah, either do yes or do no, but don't do maybe, because that's no good for anybody. So if you're going to commit. If you're not going to, if you're not ready, there's also value there in being clear and honest. But don't say yes and then do no. Please don't say yes and do no, because then that creates all kinds of problems. Okay. Good questions. Actually, I don't know. Good questions. I like that. Any other advice for the person maybe who's faced with do the right thing, don't want to, better not to do it, better do it. Anything else? Follow the Spirit?
Follow the Spirit.
Yeah.
There's so many different situations and different ways you can apply that.
Mm-hmm.
Just so many.
Yeah.
So you just gotta, for each one, it's gonna be a different answer.
How about following the Spirit as one of those things? That can be, sometimes the Spirit gives you the hardest things to do. The most difficult. They're like personal challenges just for you. Yeah.
Just don't be afraid to try, because like if you don't try, you already failed. If you try and fail, you at least learn something.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid to try.
Yep. The Lord loves effort. He loves it when we just try even. So there was a man who had a kid who had all kinds of problems, physical problems, and it was destroying, like it was just like a full-time job just to keep this kid from throwing himself into the fire, and to like had all kinds of problems, and it was a huge burden on the family. And the man brought his son to Jesus and said, like, can you heal him? And Jesus was like, well, do you believe? And he said, yes, Lord, I believe. You know the story? And then Jesus must have given him a look or something like, really? Are you sure you believe? He said, yes, Lord, I believe. Help thou mine unbelief. Help thou mine unbelief. Like, I believe, but I don't know if I believe enough. Like, I want help, but I don't know if I believe enough to get a miracle. So, and I'm just being honest here. Like, I need help. I don't know if I believe, but what I know is that I need help because I can't do this anymore. It's too much for me. So, help me with the part of believing, because I don't have that. Help thou mine unbelief. And Jesus took compassion on him and healed his son, like right there. So even if you're not all the way there, go as far as you can go. Try as much as you can. Give what you can. And I know the Lord makes up the difference. He meets you wherever you are, man. You don't have to go all the way to find the Lord. You just go as far as you can go, and he's going to meet you where you are every time. I don't care where you are. He's going to find you there, as long as you can make some effort, some desire. That's enough. Good advice. Okay. Help me finish this, guys. Okay? If you're taking notes, there might be an interesting exercise to visit back on at some point. We've been going through this asking, seeking, knocking, trying to understand and package it for this whole week, basically. So we got as far as this. Asking is done by words, right? It's verbal or it can be mental. It's questions. It ends in a question mark. It's wondering about stuff. Okay? Let's say that's asking. Seeking is done by what? I think we got as far as, it's like your intentions. It's what you are striving for. It's what you're pursuing. It's what you're desiring. It's what you're searching for. It's what you're looking for. It's also, look at this. Within the word seek is the word see. So a lot of it has to do with how we see things. The possibilities we may see. The world that we live in, which may be, like the world I live in is maybe very different from the world Bailey lives in because of how we may see things, our experiences, the way we were raised, right? Even this classroom, the way I see it is probably very different from how some of you see this experience right here, and we're in the same room together. So what we seek has a lot to do with what we see. Hence my question yesterday, which was what in the journal? Oh, you see what you want to see, true or false, right? Okay, so that's seeking. Knocking, we didn't get to this part. But knocking is actually like an action, right? You can't knock on a door without like knocking on the door. It involves some sort of effort. It's some sort of action. So what else does knocking involve? Give me something to write down with my pink marker to flesh this out. If asking is more like words, questions, seeking is more like our intentions, knocking is what? Let's have some other help there. Amina.
Trying.
Okay, to try. Love it. To actually try something. What else? Yeah. To do it. Right. Don't just think about it. Don't just want or maybe intend one day. It's actually the doing part. Good. Anything else? Yep.
Give it a chance.
Okay, give it a chance. How about that? Work. Involve some kind of work. It might even involve some kind of sacrifice. Giving up some of today's pennies for tomorrow. Good. Okay. So asking results in what? Ask and ye shall. Okay. So we think that asking involves results in receiving. Seek and ye shall find. You guys know it. So that means we're looking for something. We can find it. And then knock and it shall be. Okay. Ooh, you guys are good. This also implies that something is closed, right? It starts out closed.
Truth or full knowledge.
Where do I put that? Oh, you meaning like we don't access the truth or full knowledge until we do some sort of effort, right? Some sort of action. Okay, good. So that's what that results in. Okay, questions I've been wanting you to ponder for yourselves. Is it active or passive? This process. This all goes way back to like before we started the whole discussion about like schooling versus education, right? I'm trying to get you guys, here's my point. I want you to appreciate the fact that you can and must ask to get anything in the gospel in terms of what will value, what will work in the eternal world. Nothing's free except the opportunity. And Jesus gave us that opportunity. But everything else we have to go for. The problem is we're inundated with so much stuff piled on us that doesn't leave any room for our own asking. Asking, seeking, and knocking. So, is it an active or passive process? Are you compelled? Can you be compelled to ask, seek, and knock? Or do you have to choose it? Okay, are there prerequisites? Before you can ask, you must what? Before you can seek, you must what? Are there any prerequisites? Kind of a trick question.
Well, there has to be something for you to seek, so you have to have a question about it.
Okay. Good. So there must be, so that you must have hope. There we go. Huh?
Faith, willingness, and hope.
Okay. Yeah, you've got a hope that you'll actually get a result. And that comes down here to these challenges. Why are we sometimes reluctant to ask for help or ask questions? We need help. You guys need help. And there you got people who can help. Why do we sometimes not avail ourselves of the opportunity to get help? What is the problem with why are we reluctant to ask? Pride. Okay, we don't want to admit that we need help. Nice. What else? What else stands in our way? Yep.
Sometimes we think the answer to your question should be obvious.
Okay, so you're like, I'm going to feel dumb. I'm the only one with this question. Everybody else probably knows the answer. If I ask this question, I'll look like an idiot. So I better not ask this question. Is that a fear of, like, I think it's fear of a lot of people. I'm not getting it. I don't understand. I can't do this, but I'm just going to pretend like I can. I'm going to pretend like everything's fine. So I think that's being honest. The problem is, like, if you have the question, probably a lot of other people do. In fact, they do have the same question you have, but people just lack the courage to actually ask it. Say, I don't get it. I'm struggling. I don't understand that doctrine. This makes no sense to me. Like, I don't even know if I believe that. Like, can we talk about this? Can we hash out this whatever? This belief, this doctrine, this policy, whatever. Like, we're afraid to ask. Well, in this class, this is a place of inquiry. I want you to ask your questions. Because it's down here. Are questions, do questions mean that you have doubts? Are questions the same as doubts? No? What's the difference?
Intention.
Okay? We've kind of talked about that before. One can be cynical or critical, trying to tear down. A question is seeking or inquiring after information. So questions are not bad. Back to that podcast that Charlie shared with me the other day. One of the guys' things was like, I didn't feel like there was no room for any questions. I couldn't ask any questions. Just told what to do all the time. And now that I've left the church, I can actually ask I can actually be free and ask questions. Like, well, I don't know what kind of class you were in, maybe, but like this is a place where questions mean you're seeking. Question doesn't mean you're doubting. Questions are good. Without questions, you don't get answers. You don't get information. So ask your questions. Be verbal about it. Like actually open your mouth and ask questions and ask for help. It's good. You need to seek. All right. What's the problem with knocking? Which is the actual physical part.
Sometimes we knock on something, and then it gets opened unto us, but then we hesitate to walk in. We don't know if we should or not, and then we sometimes turn around and just walk back, which is a problem.
It's a problem. Okay. Why is that? Like, is that a fear thing? Like,
Sometimes.
yeah. Do I actually want to? Because maybe that's a commitment. Like, oh, I've knocked, the door's open, but I don't know if I want to commit to that. I don't know if I'm ready for that. It's a big step. I think it's also like people are afraid of work. Well, that sounds a whole lot like work, and work, nah, it's like allergic. That's not my thing. No.
Sometimes it takes time to see results from knocking. You knock and somebody will be all the way upstairs and they have a long ways to go. So,
Impatience, right? Yeah, we get impatient. We want immediate results. We live in an information age where you want to know something, you just look it up. We're professional looker-uppers, right? We're good at looking stuff up. So it's like we want our information, we want our results now. It's really easy to get discouraged and be impatient with ourselves as we have to keep pounding on the door. I knew a young woman in England when we lived there. We were in the kind of serving in the youth. She's like, eventually she left the church. She's like, well, I prayed for an answer to the Book of Mormon, and I didn't get it. So it must not be true. Okay, well, there's a promise there. So I believe in that promise because I've experienced it. So what went wrong? Well, I was like, it's like 6 months I was praying for an answer. I didn't get one, so it must not be true. Well, 6 months. That's the limit to her knocking. Like, okay, I'll go 6 months on this door. It's not opening. I'm just going to move on. So we can get fatigued, get tired of the work. This might seem like too much.
we're out of time.
We're out of time. Yes, we are. Final thought. Joseph Smith was a seeker. We have the whole restoration and all of the Doctrine and Covenants because people were seeking. They wanted information. They asked God, and God gave them. They asked and they received. So I want to just put that out there. And the last thing, this isn't just in the gospel context. The gospel teaches us about the reality of the world and the universe. Remember that. The gospel isn't just for church and religion. The gospel teaches us about reality. So what we're talking about here, this ask principle, is how the universe works. It's like what we put out is what comes back to us. It's like a law of attraction. It's like magnets. This is our magnet. And what we seek and what we ask and what we knock for is what will come to us. It is the reality of how the universe works. So that's huge, and we just said it, and now we're done. I don't know. So it's so important. We're out of time. Love you guys. Have an awesome weekend. Be aware of what you're seeking here from General Conference, okay? You'll get something out of it if you want to. If you go on seeking, you'll find, you'll receive. And I hope you do. I'll leave this with you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Adam.
Dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this day. We're thankful that we could make it to seminary today, and pray that those who couldn't make it can make it soon. And I pray that we can have a good rest of our day, and that we can make it back safely. And I pray all these things in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. So glad you're here, guys.